Good afternoon, Megan. Today we're going to be doing the YMCA Submax Bike Exercise Test. So we've already had you fill out your HHQ and your PARQ. None of those had any contraindications to exercise testing after I reviewed them. So based on that, I determined it safe to go ahead and begin to do a Submax exercise test today. Um, Here I have an informed consent on the test that we're going to be performing today. I'm going to have you fill this out. I'm going to kind of explain to you what we're going to be doing. So what this is this form just kind of says what we're doing in the test, how the test is going to be ran. It's completely voluntary to sign this form. But in order to perform the test, I'm going to need you to sign the form. So the YMCA Submax test is a cycloergometer test, and it's made up of 2 to 4 stages, depending on heart rate and each stage, how far that goes, depending on what levels you reach, and depending on when you need to stop. The first stage we set at 0.5 kilogram of resistance, and then from there we'll increase determined based on the heart rate that you initially have in the first stage, and then we'll follow that cycle on from there. Heart rate during this test will be measured every minute. Blood pressure and RPE will be measured every 3rd minute of the stage. So RPE is how hard you're working. That's based on a 6 to 20 scale, which is right here on the bike. On the right side here, it's in English. So on the 6 to 20 scale, whenever I just say how hard you're working, just give me a number on that range. 6 would be no work at all. 20 is the hardest you've ever worked in your life. So from there, after that, we're going to end up taking your heart rate, resting blood pressure, height, and weight before we get you onto the bike. And then the stages, they are very simple. I will be telling you you're going to be maintaining a 50 RPM cadence throughout the test. So your RPMs are on here. So maintain as close to 50 as possible. I need you to maintain it in a rate of 48 to 52 is the lowest and highest I'd like you to go. So I'm going to be continuing to monitor that and continuing to tell you to maintain that pace. We will be placing a heart rate monitor around your chest during this test. That'll be strapped on there and will be synced up with this watch so we can measure the heart rate. You'll have a blood pressure cuff placed on your arm during the test, and I'll try and hold the cords and everything out of your way so it doesn't interfere with your test. Do you have any other questions about the test?
No.
Okay. If I can get you to fill this out, the first blank here, print your name. There are a few blanks at the ends of several of these paragraphs that ask for your patient initials. And then it asks for your signature, and then I'll sign it also when you're done. Okay. So before we begin this exercise test, I have to take a resting heart rate and resting blood pressure measure. You're going to have to sit there quietly for 5 minutes. You can't talk at all. And have you voided your bladder in the last 30 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had any alcohol, caffeine, anything else like that?
No.
Recently? Okay. Okay. Good. All right. So you're going to have to sit there for 5 minutes. I'm going to need you to uncross your hands and rest your arm on the armrest there completely. Feet flat on the floor. Can't cross your legs. And you're just going to have to sit there for 5 minutes. And then after that, we'll take those measures. Okay, so now I'm going to take your resting heart rate. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to palpate for the radial artery. And I'm going to measure this for 60 seconds. Okay, you have a resting heart rate at 77 beats per minute. Now we're going to measure your resting blood pressure. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to roll up your sleeve and I'm going to palpate for the brachial artery. Okay. You can relax your arm. Bring this around, let it just hang there. Okay, your resting blood pressure was 110/60. Now if you'll come with me, we're going to go measure your height and weight. Okay, Megan. So what I'm going to have you do is we're going to get you up on the bike. But before we do that, we're going to put your heart rate monitor on. So I'm going to need you to remove your shirt. You can stand up. And I apologize, this has to be wet, and so it is going to be cold. My hands are also a little bit cold, so I understand if you have some jitters as I put this on, but it has to be wet in order for the heart rate monitor to work and pick up your heart rate. Okay, you can put your shirt on the desk. I'm going to go around you. If you can lift up your sports bra just a little bit so I can slide it underneath. Okay. Takes a few seconds to pick up. Okay. You can put your shirt back on now. Okay, Megan. So I'm going to have you stand right where you're at, or you can come right here next to me. You can slide over here in front of me. Okay. Come out a little bit. Okay, I'm going to palpate for your greater trochanter. So if I can get you to lift your left leg up, and you can hold the bike for support, and just rotate your ankle out. Okay. Could you put your fingers right there, please? Okay, and slide over to the bike. Let go. Okay. Yeah, from behind you, if you can get on the bike, please. Go ahead and put your feet in the pedals. Okay. Can I get you to point your right foot down? Okay. Can I get you to point your right heel down? A little bit too tall, isn't it?
Maybe a little.
Okay. You can just stand up in the seat and you can hold on to the handlebars. I'm going to lower it. You can sit back down. Put your right foot down. Left heel down. Okay. Does that feel okay? All right. Can you pedal a couple times? Does that feel good?
Yes.
Okay. Get behind you real quick. Watch your hips. Okay, good. And how about the hand position? Do you like that a little bit higher?
No, it's fine.
Okay, you sure? Let's get it lean forward just a little bit to you. Where you're, okay, go ahead and put your hands on there. Put your arms a little bit bent. Does that feel good there?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any other questions about the test before we start?
No.
Okay. I'll roll up your sleeve here and go ahead and put your blood pressure cuff on. I'm going to palpate for the brachial artery again. Just hold this for a second. Okay, so minute 0 heart rate is 75 beats per minute. I'm going to take your blood pressure before we begin. You can hold this one. Minute 0 blood pressure is 116/60. And right now, on a scale of 6 to 20, how hard do you feel like you're working?
6.
Okay. So now to start the test, we're going to start with a 3-minute warm-up. There's going to be no resistance on there, and you're just going to be pedaling at a pace of 50 RPMs, which is that top number here on the screen. Okay, so you can go ahead and begin. This warm-up gives you a chance to get loose and ready for the test, and also get you used to that 50 RPM cadence. Does that feel okay?
Yes.
Once we get a little resistance on there when we begin the test, it's sometimes a little easier to maintain that cadence, but you'll go ahead and start getting used to it here. Good, doing great.
Thanks.
Good job. Staying right on that 50. Try to keep it smooth. Good, doing a good job with that pace. A little less than a minute left on the cool down, or warm up, I'm sorry. Also, when you're going on the bike, try to have a relaxed grip on the handrails here, handlebars. We don't want you to be gripping on that. That can affect your breathing and blood pressure and everything, so just relax. Good job. A little bit longer. Almost there. Okay. Are you ready to begin the test?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to put the 0.5 kilogram of resistance on there for the first stage. So go ahead and start pedaling. feel good right now?
Yes.
Good. Good job with that pace. Good. At 48 to 52 range, ideally 50. Minute 1 heart rate's 96. Good job maintaining at 50 RPMs, 48 to 52. Doing great. Doing great. Maintain that 50 RPM. Minute 2 heart rate is 91. How hard do you feel like you're working on that 6 to 20 scale?
Maybe a 7.
Okay. Check your blood pressure. Blood pressure was 128 over 60. RPE was a 7. Minute 3 heart rate is 95. And we'll be increasing to stage 2, which is 1.5 kilograms of resistance. How's that feel?
Good.
Doing great. Stay within that 48 to 52 RPM range. Minute 4 heart rate is 117. Doing great. Good job with that cadence. Minute 5 heart rate is 126. How hard do you feel like you're working on that 6 to 20 scale?
10.
Okay. Blood pressure was 134/64. RP was 10. Minute 6 heart rate is 124. Have steady state and will be increasing to 2 kilograms of resistance. Doing great, Megan. And at 50 RPM. Feeling all right?
Yes.
Very good. Minute 7 heart rate is 135. Doing great. Maintain that cadence. Minute 8 heart rate, 148. On that 6 to 20 scale, how hard do you feel like you're working?
11.
Okay. Blood pressure was 148/64. RPE was an 11. Minute 9 heart rate is 151. We'll be advancing to the next stage, which is 2.5 kilograms of resistance. Good job, Megan. Doing great. Maintain that 48 to 52 RPMs. Doing great, doing great. Minute 10 heart rate is 166. Feeling all right?
Yes.
Good. Doing a good job with that cadence. Minute 11 heart rate is 170. How hard do you feel like you're working on that 6 to 20 scale, Megan?
12.
RPE was a 12. Blood pressure was 152/66. Okay, continue pedaling, Megan. Continue pedaling. You're almost there. I'm going to take the resistance off in 15 seconds. We're going to enter into a cool down. Minute 12 heart rate is 171. Resistance is going down, and you continue pedaling at that same cadence. Doing great, doing great. IPE heart rate was 173. Blood pressure was 160/66. And how hard did you feel like you were working at the last minute of that?
13.
Okay. RP was a 13. Minute 1 cool down, the heart rate is 114. Good job. Maintain that cadence. Doing great. Feel good?
Yep.
Good. Minute 2 of the cool down, the heart rate is 99. Blood pressure was 136/64. Continue pedaling. Minute 3 of the cool down, the heart rate is 97. Okay, Megan. Stop pedaling. I'm going to take you to this chair. You're going to take your feet out of the straps. Good. Go ahead and have a seat there. Put your cuff on there. Minute 1 of seated recovery. Heart rate is 85. Feeling all right?
Yes.
Okay, good. And have you continue to sit as your heart rate and blood pressure continue to lower back down and get closer to those minute 0 pre-exercise values. Minute 2 of seated recovery. Heart rate is 83. Blood pressure. Blood pressure was 122/62. Heart rate is 85. Good. The heart rate and blood pressure both come down nicely. We're going to give it a few more minutes to monitor as it gets closer to those minute 0 values. Feeling okay?
Yep.
Good. Heart rate is 84. Heart rate is 78. Blood pressure is 114/60. Heart rate is 75. Okay, with that, Megan, I'm going to take the blood pressure cuff off of you. Okay, you got any questions about the test?
No.
Okay, feeling okay?
Yes.
In the next couple days, I'll get back with you on the results of your test once we filled out the paperwork, graphed your results and everything, and gone through the calculations. Everything I saw today, you ran a great test, did a great job on the bike for us, and we appreciate you coming in. So we're done as far as monitoring here in the chair with blood pressure and heart rate. If you have any problems throughout the day, you can call our office. If it's an emergency, call 911. Make a trip to the emergency room if you need to. You shouldn't have any problems like that. This was a sub-maximal exercise test. You may have some fatigue the rest of the day, but more than likely you can resume your normal activities and won't have any issue going about your regular day for the rest of the afternoon. Anything else you need to know?
No.
Okay. I'm going to have you stand up. And if you can just walk over there across the room and back, I'm going to do a gait check. Okay, good. Come back. Okay, good. Everything looks okay? Feels okay?
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you can pull your shirt up, I'm going to remove the heart rate monitor. Okay. Thank you. Okay. It's been great having you. I have some water here for you to take with you.
Oh, thank
And
you.
recommend having a light snack within the next 30 minutes or so.
Okay.
That should be good.
Okay.
So thank you for coming today.
You're welcome.